Capitalism. Capitalism, to me, is men who hire humans like ants in an antcastle, and they sit there and their work is nothing unique. It's all part of a system. This is what factory lines are. You have people doing the same job as so many other people, and if they didn't show up that one day, it wouldn't mean anything. There's no gain from their work. They don't see themselves in the work, and it's all for profit. And at the end of the day, they're making less than what they're producing is being sold for. This is capitalism. And capitalism is built by humans, not meaning that it doesn't work, but let's just remember, capitalism was made 30, 40, 50 years ago. It truly became. And this is old white men. So capitalism was made for white men to become rich and to make money. And as the years have gone on, racism has progressed, equality for women has progressed, and all these things as society have moved on. Capitalism worked for these white men, and it actually became very good for them, and they had an equal way of paying it. But because we became more open to women and other races, now that you add the women into the capitalism economy, and you add all the black people and the Asian and the brown people and all these other cultures, capitalism then becomes screwed up because it was made for one person, for the white men to become rich. It wasn't made for as many people, as many different jobs that there are now. And it's too late. And you can read about a man, Karl Marx. He's the creator of communism. And he came up with this whole capitalist society when he writes in the book Das Kapital. He talks about an empire that has its own seeds to destruction. Just like the Roman Empire. People thought that would be the longest living empire. They thought it was the most powerful. They thought all these things, but it truly came to a horrible crash. And just as your life ends, my life ends, trees' life ends, bugs' life, everything ends, so will empires. And I think, ultimately, to go back to my point, life is what you make it. Although we have these problems in our life, there's certain times to comply, but you also need to not worry. And I used to see the future as stress, and that's only what's going to come out of it, and it just scares me. And I see the past as guilt and things that I could have done, and I only saw these as the only option. And this is what humanity sees. We feel bad, and we don't want to look into the future because we're scared how much more we're going to progress if we've progressed over these 30 years. But if you just think about it in your own way, that's how I look at it. I could look at the future as prosperous. It has many opportunities for me. You can go far. I'm very charismatic. I know how to articulate myself, and I have very deep thoughts, and I don't want to hurt people, and I have very high emotions, and I'm very loving. And you could look at all these things as things that could be developed in the future, and you look back at the past instead. Look back at, hey, you know what I could fix? That there's no going back and changing, but I could fix it in the future when it happens, or I can reflect upon this, and it's not just regret, and it's a life lessons. All these things happen. And so with capitalism, we can look at it as, yeah, excuse my language, we messed up, we fucked up, but we're humans. And just as we created capitalism, we can create another one. And that also goes with the black power. Everyone's like, oh, why are black people so violent when they rant about what they want to be or who they are, and the whole Black Lives Matter things. But if you look at it over time, how do you crash an empire? How do you make evolutionary change? In France, when they didn't like their government, they went, hey, screw this, you know what? And they were beheading rich people in the streets. Literally beheading rich people after they took over their own government and had anarchy. So, is violence the way? Maybe not. but violence gets things done. And at the point where we are now in this day and age, I think that's all we're concluded to. And if you quickly look back to Vancouver losing the Stanley Cup, I'm not sure what year, I'm pretty sure 2012, but I could be wrong. They rioted in their streets. The amount of people in there, and there were around, I think, 2,000, 3,000 cops there, and they couldn't do anything. These people raided stores. These people lit cop cars on fire. They ran over the riot squads, because numbers have power, and the poor can come together and make it happen. So it's never too late, and don't ever think that. But keep your mind open, and let's make a change.